Hi, my name is Debbie Shelton. I am the Benefits Specialist for Manassas City Public Schools. I'd like to welcome you as new employees to our school division. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about workers' compensation, FMLA, and leave policy, as well as our employee self-service program. So for workers' compensation, we hope you don't get ill or injured when you're on the job, but if you do, we have a process in place. You will first call company nurse at this toll-free number. There are flyers posted throughout the work locations, and you will also notify your supervisor. If you need to seek a medical treatment, often the school nurse will assist with first aid, and then you may be referred to a panel physician that takes our workers' compensation program insurance. I will follow up with you for any documentation that's needed and send you a letter about the process. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. So now we're going to talk about Family and Medical Leave Act, or FMLA. It's a federal law that requires employers to provide up to 12 work weeks or 60 work days of job-protected benefit continued leave for a serious health condition, for the birth, adoption, or foster care or placement of children. And the serious health condition is defined as an illness, injury, impairment, physical or mental condition that involves either inpatient care or continuing treatment by a healthcare provider. If it's for a family member, it must be a parent, spouse, or child under 18, unless that child is disabled. In order to be eligible, an employee must have worked for Manassas City Public Schools for at least 12 months and have worked 1,250 hours in that 12-month time. Sick, annual, and personal leave are not counted in the 1,250 hours worked. So what if you, as a new hire, are not eligible for FMLA? If you get a debilitating or life-threatening illness or injury and cannot work, then you may take up to 30 days of unpaid leave. And if beyond that, if you are not a probationary employee, you can request in writing to take a medical leave of absence for up to 1 year after you've exhausted the paid leave time period. Now, we do have a new law that's in place. It's called the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. This went into effect on April 1, 2020 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This expands the existing Family and Medical Leave Act and also provides emergency paid leave for employees relating to COVID-19. The dates covered are April 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020. Employees must have worked for the employer, Manassas City Schools, for 30 days before they take this type of leave or request it. There's two different subsets of this leave. It's Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act, which is EPSLA, and there's the EFMLA, Expanded Family Medical Leave Act. And all leave requests should be directed to me, Deb Shelton. So the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act provides paid sick leave for up to 2 weeks if the employee is in quarantine due to COVID-19, seeking a medical diagnosis due to their symptoms, caring for a family member, or caring for a child at home, if their school or daycare is closed. The Emergency Family and Medical Leave Act is for 10 weeks of expanded FMLA to care for children at home that may be home because their school or their daycare has been closed. If the employee can telework while caring for their child or children, then the paid sick leave and the Expanded Family Medical Leave Act would not be available. The 12 weeks of total leave will be available for both full-time and part-time employees under this new Families First Coronavirus Act. Now we're going to talk about the different types of leave. We have sick leave, and under that we have family, personal, and bereavement. We also have personal leave, which is its own type of leave. And then we have some special leave like annual leave that's for 12-month employees only. Then we have civil, professional development, school activity, and military leave. We do expect our employees to attend work and have good attendance records because every day counts. So for employee leave, it's based on the fiscal year, which is July 1st through June 30th. It's advanced to each employee at the beginning of their contract or the beginning of the year, which starts in July. It's recorded in the payroll system, a pay period behind, because it's every 2 weeks. It's credited, reported, and used on the 15-minute or quarter-hour basis and is always rounded to the nearest quarter hour. It will be prorated for any full-time employee who starts the school year late. So if you're a late contract, then your leave will be prorated based on your start date. Excessive use of leave. If you as an employee take 5 or more sick leave days during a semester, your supervisor may hold a conference with you to find out what's going on and to talk about if it has affected your performance. And this conference may be documented as part of your personnel file with the division. The sick leave regulation, it states that the sick personal leave can be used for yourself if you cannot work due to illness, injury, medical procedure, or hospitalization, or the sick family leave can be used if you need to take care of a member of your immediate family, which is a spouse, a child, or a parent. And then the other medical appointments that cannot be scheduled outside of working hours, you can use sick leave for yourself, for sick personal, or sick family for this purpose. So the annual sick leave hours are provided by position. Basically, if you're a full-time employee with Manassas City Schools, you will earn the equivalent of 8 hours of sick leave per month based on your contract. So for 12-month employees, you will get 96 hours for the whole year. 11 months is 88 hours, 10 months is 80 hours, and 9 months is 72 hours. You can also have sick bereavement leave if, God forbid, you do have a loved one that passes away in your immediate family. And you see here on the slide, the regulation states exactly who is covered as considered your immediate family. And if you do not have enough sick leave to cover your sick bereavement leave, you could also use personal or annual leave, or even request leave without pay. And you can have 5 days of sick bereavement leave. Now, how do you use your sick leave? You would notify your principal or supervisor in advance whenever possible, but no later than the beginning of each workday, and let them know when you return to work. And then you're going to put the absence in absence management. Absence management is a different system, and Jenny Higginbotham will train you in that process. Okay, so now we're going to talk about sick leave transfer and the process for that. So an employee may transfer a maximum of 90 days of sick leave from a prior employment with an accredited public school division, as long as you have not already received a payout for that amount, and it will be certified by your prior employer and sent to me. If you need to be out for 4 or more consecutive days for personal or family sick leave, then you do need to provide a doctor's note to your supervisor to verify the illness or incapacity for that time period. It needs to include your employee name, your date of appointment, and the time period you were not able to be at work. Sick leave during what we call the blackout period will be requiring a doctor's note if you need to be out before or after local, state, or national holidays, before or after scheduled breaks, during SOL testing, and that's obviously for teachers, and then on professional development days, and then any other critical days identified by our superintendent, Dr. Newman. The employee may be requested to submit that doctor's note, again, to show that you have an excused absence for that day. Okay, next we're going to talk about personal leave. Who is eligible for personal leave? Any full-time employee with less than a 12-month contract will be advanced up to 24 hours annually or 3 days of personal leave, depending on the date of hire. Full-time employees with 12-month contracts are advanced up to 16 hours annually, which is 2 days of personal leave, depending on your date of hire. All employees will follow the same guidelines for the use of personal leave. Personal leave is provided to allow employees to conduct personal and business matters. It may be taken during the school year under the following conditions: for emergencies at any time, or if you know ahead of time, with a minimum of 5 days notice to your principal or supervisor. The request for personal leave will not be approved unless there are extenuating circumstances during these time periods: the first 10 days of instruction, the last 10 days of instruction, the day before or after a local, state, or national holiday or a scheduled school break, SOL testing on your employee's work site if you're a teacher, professional development or teacher work days, and other critical days designated by your superintendent, Dr. Newman, or designate. So if you need to request personal leave during that restricted time period, please provide a written, detailed statement that will explain the extenuating reasons you need to justify that request. You'll send it to your supervisor, and then they will send it to the Executive Director of Human Resources at least 30 days prior to the date that the requested personal leave will begin. The final confirmation is subject to the superintendent's approval. Any unused personal leave will roll over into sick leave on June 30th. So that unused personal leave will become sick and will roll over on June 30th into sick leave starting July 1st with the new fiscal year. So 12-month employees are eligible for annual leave. Only 12-month employees get annual leave, which is vacation. The maximum number of annual leave hours is normally 360 hours, but this year, because of COVID-19, they have provided a new rule that you can roll over up to 400 hours of annual leave from one year to the next. And annual leave is advanced on July 1st. The longer you work here as a 12-month employee, the more hours you will earn for annual leave. So you'll see that in this chart. You may be asked to do professional development training, either in-site or off-site, with seminars, conferences, and other professional learning opportunities, and you would use professional development leave for this purpose. It's leave without loss of pay. During the month of May, professional development leave may be limited. There's also school activity leave. This paid leave is used if you're participating in a school division activity, for example, a field trip. You'll need to put in the school activity leave in absence management and also designate if you need a substitute or not in that system. Civil leave is a special type of leave if you need to attend court for jury duty or subpoenaed as a witness. And we do require the documentation to be given to your supervisor for this approved leave. And it is also a leave without loss of pay. The employee has the option to reimburse the division the amount of money received from the court for serving on jury duty. Military leave is also a special type of paid leave for officers and employees who are members of the organized reserve forces of any armed service of the United States, the National Guard, Naval Militia, or when called by the governor. You're entitled to a leave of absence without loss of seniority, and a paid leave of absence for federally funded military training shall not exceed 15 work days in the federal fiscal year. So now we're going to talk about employee self-service, or ESS. On employee self-service, you can view your personal information, including your pay stubs, your tax information, and your leave balances. You can save and print your direct deposit pay stubs, use the payroll simulator tool to see how deductions and withholding changes will affect your pay, and print your tax forms. It's important to note that Manassas City Public Schools has gone paperless, and we no longer mail or provide paper pay stubs. So your pay stubs are only located in ESS. Okay, so on employee self-service, you can print your pay stubs and your tax forms. So as I said, we are paperless, so it's important to know how to use employee self-service. So when you go to Manassas City Public Schools homepage, you can log in under My MCPS, where you put in your username and password for your computer, and then you'll see there's a click for the ESS or employee self-service link, and then you log in the upper right-hand corner of that page. So your username will always be the first initial of your last name, followed by the first initial of your first name, and then your employee ID number. In the example, Mr. Osborne Eagle, his ID number is 1234, and he has a social security number of 123456789. So his user ID is EO12345 for ESS, and his first time default password is going to be the last 4 digits of his social security number. So in his case, it would be 6789, and it should prompt you to create your own password the first time you log in. Once you're done with employee self-service, you'll need to log out and then make sure you always log out because of your personal information. Employee self-service is also used for open enrollment for benefits, so it's important that you understand how to use it. And there are resources located in the tab next to your name in the upper right-hand corner as well. You will not have access to employee self-service until you've received your first paycheck. So that's important to know as well. If you have any additional information or questions that you need to ask, you can contact Megan Mills, our benefits administrator.
She is the main contact for benefits, and then I'm the benefits assistant, and I help mostly with leave and other related items. I also do tuition reimbursement. So if you have any questions about the tuition reimbursement program, you can certainly contact me. Here's our phone numbers and our emails. And then for faxing, you can always fax forms to us at our secure fax, which is here on the slide. But we do prefer things to be scanned and emailed for timely delivery. Thank you and good luck.